Something subtle has changed at airports, and most travelers never realized it. There wasn't a press conference about it. No big news stories warning passengers. Airlines didn't send emails explaining what was happening. Yet over the last few years, the way checked luggage works has quietly evolved. And if you arrive at the airport expecting things to operate the way they did a decade ago, you might end up surprised. And sometimes paying for that surprise. Because baggage rules in 2026 are not the same as many travelers remember. Some of these changes make the travel experience smoother. Others make it more expensive. But all of them matter if you want your trip to go smoothly. And the first mistake people make is something airport staff see every single day. Many travelers still assume that their plane ticket automatically includes a checked suitcase. Years ago, that was the norm. You bought your ticket, arrived at the airport, handed over your luggage, and it traveled with you. Today, that assumption often leads to an unexpected fee. Most standard economy tickets on domestic flights no longer include a free checked bag. In many cases, even short international routes now charge for luggage as well. Flights between neighboring countries frequently fall into this category. Yet travelers, especially those who remember how flying used to work, often arrive expecting that suitcase to be included. That misunderstanding can get expensive quickly. Several airlines that once promoted generous baggage policies have gradually changed course. In 2026, Southwest Airlines ended its long-running free baggage policy and introduced a fee for checked luggage. Other airlines such as Delta, United, American, and JetBlue have slowly raised baggage prices as well. At first glance, the increase may look small, just a few dollars per bag. But over the course of a round trip, those costs add up. Picture this scenario. You book a flight to a vacation destination assuming your international ticket includes one suitcase. At the airport, you discover that the bag costs $40 each direction. By the time you return home, you've spent $80 just for one suitcase. And there's something many passengers don't realize. The price can depend on when you pay for it. Adding your checked bag while booking the ticket online is usually cheaper than paying at the airport counter. Once travelers arrive at the airport with luggage in hand, they have very few alternatives, and airlines know it. Another detail many passengers overlook involves booking bundles. Airlines sometimes offer packages that combine seat selection, priority boarding, and checked luggage together. They sound convenient, but they often cost more than simply adding a bag on its own. If those extra perks aren't important to you, skipping the bundle can save money. A small decision that makes a difference before your trip even begins. Another common situation happens the moment people enter the airport terminal. Long lines at the airline check-in counters. Most travelers assume that waiting in those lines is simply part of flying. But in many airports today, those lines are optional. Airports have introduced self-service bag drop systems that allow passengers to check luggage quickly without waiting for an airline agent. The process usually works like this. Passengers check in through the airline's mobile app before arriving at the airport. They pay for their checked bag online. Once they arrive at the terminal, they walk to a self-service kiosk, print their luggage tag, attach it to the suitcase, and place the bag on an automated conveyor belt. The entire process often takes less than a minute. Some airports even have special lanes for travelers who already completed these steps online. While those passengers move quickly, many others remain in the traditional line simply because they don't know the faster option exists. Of course, technology isn't perfect. Some travelers, particularly seniors who prefer personal assistance, still feel more comfortable speaking with an airline representative. Most airports still provide staffed counters for exactly that reason. But whether you use a self-service kiosk or a traditional counter, there is another rule that matters even more. And ignoring it can cause serious problems. Airlines operate with strict baggage check-in deadlines. Many travelers assume that if the airplane hasn't left yet, there's still time to check a suitcase. But airline systems no longer work that way. Most airlines now stop accepting checked bags well before departure time. For many domestic flights, luggage must be checked at least 45 minutes before takeoff. Once that cutoff time passes, the computer system blocks the process entirely. Even airline staff cannot override it. That's why travelers sometimes reach the counter while their flight is still boarding, only to be told it's too late to check their suitcase. The aircraft may still be sitting at the gate, but their bag cannot be accepted. Interestingly, arriving too early can also create complications. When bags are checked hours before departure, they may sit in temporary holding areas before entering the airport's automated baggage system. During that time, they aren't moving toward the plane yet. Bags that remain in those holding areas longer may face a slightly higher risk of delays or handling mistakes. Most airlines recommend a balanced approach. For domestic flights, checking luggage about 90 minutes before departure usually works well. International trips typically require more time, often 2 to 3 hours. That window gives the airport system enough time to process and load your suitcase efficiently. International travel also introduces another rule that surprises many people. Sometimes passengers must collect their luggage during a connection. Imagine landing in another country after a long flight. You follow the signs toward your connecting gate, assuming your suitcase is automatically moving to the next aircraft. But behind the scenes, your luggage may have stopped at baggage claim. On many international itineraries, passengers are required to collect their suitcase after landing, pass through customs with it, and then place it back into the baggage system for the next flight. If a traveler doesn't realize this step exists and simply walks to the next gate, the suitcase stays behind. This confuses travelers because domestic flights usually work differently. Within the same country, luggage typically transfers automatically between aircraft. International travel involves customs inspections, which require passengers to present their belongings. The easiest way to avoid confusion is to ask a simple question when checking your bag. Ask whether your luggage is tagged all the way to your final destination. If it isn't, the airline staff will explain where you need to collect and recheck it during your journey. Even when everything goes according to plan, your suitcase still faces one more challenge: the environment inside the airport baggage system. Many passengers rarely think about what happens after their bag disappears behind the counter. But behind the scenes, luggage travels through a complex network of conveyor belts, sorting machines, and loading areas. Thousands of suitcases move through these systems every day. Baggage handlers work quickly to load aircraft on schedule, which means luggage is often stacked, pushed, and moved rapidly. Durable suitcases are designed to handle this environment. Cheaper luggage often struggles. Thin plastic shells, fragile wheels, and weak zippers can break under the stress of airport handling. That's why frequent travelers often invest in sturdy luggage that can survive years of travel. Another mistake travelers make happens during packing. Trying to fit too many items into a single suitcase. Overpacking puts constant pressure on the bag's structure. At home, the suitcase might close, but once it moves through conveyor belts and cargo compartments, that pressure can cause seams or zippers to fail. Airlines also enforce weight limits for checked luggage. If a suitcase exceeds those limits, passengers may face overweight baggage fees that can reach well over $100. In some situations, the airline may refuse to accept the bag entirely. Security screening adds another layer. Before luggage ever reaches the aircraft, it passes through security scanners. If something unusual appears on the X-ray image, security agents may open the suitcase for inspection. This happens without the passenger present. Afterward, items inside the bag may not look exactly the way they were originally packed. Certain items commonly trigger these inspections. Loose lithium batteries, power banks, and some electronic devices are usually not permitted inside checked luggage. These items are generally safer inside carry-on bags. And finally, there is one rule experienced travelers always follow. Never pack valuables in checked luggage. Once your suitcase enters the airport system, several groups of people may handle it. Baggage handlers, security staff, and airport workers all interact with luggage during its journey. While most employees are simply doing their jobs, it's always safest to keep important belongings with you. Items like medication, jewelry, passports, electronics, and important documents should always remain in your carry-on bag. The truth is that baggage policies didn't change overnight. They evolved slowly over time. That's why many travelers still rely on outdated expectations from years ago. But once you understand how modern airports operate, the entire travel process becomes much smoother. Check baggage policies before booking your flight. Pay for luggage online whenever possible. Use faster bag drop systems if they're available. Arrive within the correct check-in window. Understand connection procedures during international travel. Avoid overpacking your suitcase. And keep valuable items with you instead of inside checked bags. Small adjustments like these can prevent delays, unnecessary fees, and stressful surprises at the airport. Because airports may look complicated, but travelers who understand how they work always move through them more smoothly. And if you want to avoid even more airport mistakes that could cost you money or disrupt your trip, make sure you subscribe for more travel tips and airport insights. Safe travels, and I'll see you in the next video.